Sophomores Keegan, Pulford-Thorpe, and Caden Smith are two Division I transfers that came to Georgia Highlands after spending time at a four-year university. Caden and Keegan have a lot in common, including their classification and the fact that they both played baseball at a four-year school before transferring to the Chargers. These guys were both introduced to the game of baseball in a similar way, and both had to choose baseball over another sport.
I started playing baseball mostly because my dad got me into it at a young age. Been playing since I was 4 years old and just fell in love with it and just followed my dad's footsteps. It was my dad. My father played minor league baseball for the Orioles for 6 or 7 years. So about time when I got 9 or 10, when I stopped playing t-ball and started playing real baseball, my dad got me right into it, and we got right after it. I started taking baseball serious probably right after my freshman year. I got hurt playing football and basketball and ended up just quitting those two sports after that year. Started focusing on baseball and worked with 643 and Pope and all my other sources and just went with it. Baseball switched from just being kind of something I did in the summer to a career about when I was 15 or 16. It's about time when hockey gets a little more serious, so baseball ramped up with that as well. And it just became, I had to pick one and choose it to do all year round, and baseball was it.
Now, there are many differences in the baseball journeys between these two guys, starting with the fact that Caden grew up playing high school baseball in Georgia, where the sport is huge year-round, where Keegan, on the other hand, had a completely different high school baseball experience growing up in Canada.
My high school baseball career was at Pope High School with Jeff Rowland. We won 2 state championships, appeared in 4 while I was there, and it was a great time. High school baseball in Canada is a lot different than down here, just because we have snow on the ground really until March, April time, but it's a really, it's more an inclusive experience back there. We play 6 to 7 games in the regular season and then go into playoffs. But I had a lot of fun, played a lot of different positions I really wouldn't play on my travel ball team, and I love the guys back there.
Coming out of high school in 2019, Caden committed to play baseball for the Mercer Bears in his hometown of Georgia. Keegan committed to the University of Central Florida, even though he had the option of going right to the MLB out of high school in 2019.
So my recruitment process probably started when I was a sophomore, 6'3", started getting looks, and it was easy just because a lot of coaches will come out to LakePoint and watch travel games. So yeah, that playing here obviously helped, and then I committed to Mercer when I was a sophomore, into my sophomore year, going into my junior year, and that really helped me and made me feel confident going into my senior year. Recruitment out of high school from Canada is a lot different than down here. We get a lot of exposure when we come down to play tournaments at LakePoint and Jupiter, places like that. So really, I didn't get my first offer and stuff until start talking to schools until my sophomore year. And then it was a slow process through there, just meeting schools, finding the right fit, and in my senior fall, I came up with the decision. I went to UCF. I kind of fell in love with it and the coaches there, and it was the one for me. I was drafted out of high school and then attended UCF for 2 years. With my mother being a teacher, there's been put a lot of emphasis on just education and taking care of that. And with the situation in the draft, we felt it was best to kind of start my degree, get going on that, grow up into my body a little more, grow into the person I am now, and then try to go back to the professional route. Once COVID hit, I realized Mercer wasn't the right place for me, and I knew I was going to get another year of eligibility, so I took the JUCO route, which paid off. About halfway through my second year at UCF, we were just on different pages on what we wanted to do development-wise, and I loved my time there, I loved the people there, but it was the best decision for me to come to Highlands and get the opportunity to really put my stuff on display.
Both of these guys realized that transferring to a junior college would be beneficial to their development. Both of them picked Georgia Highlands for similar reasons.
Highlands fit the bill for everything I was looking for from an opportunity standpoint, from just a competitive standpoint, and then the coaches here have been amazing with everything development-wise. So it really just, once I talked to Coach Hughes and Coach O, it just clicked perfectly, felt right. A lot of good connections. Coach O is a great leader, great guy, and he really made it feel like a family here and really brought me in, and they win a lot.
With Caden being from Georgia, the Chargers baseball program had their eye on him for a long time.
Well, we didn't really recruit Caden. It kind of was just a situation where I think Caden wanted to come closer to home, and he knew we were here, and so it just sort of worked out where this is where he was at. But we knew him from high school, and he was a very good player at Pope High School. That's one of the traditional powers in the state of Georgia. So we were familiar with him from there. He was a tremendous RBI producer when he was in high school, and had just a lot of pop and the ability to move the baseball. So he was a player when he called me up. I mean, I knew who he was, and I had some friends that had great things to say about him, and it was just a no-brainer. I mean, it was an opportunity to get a good player that that wanted to be here.
Even though Keegan was from way out of town, the Chargers had their eye on the left-handed pitcher when they needed to add someone like him to their rotation.
Yeah, well, Keegan was a 2019 draft pick, out of Canada, and if you just look at the physical ability that he has, it's spectacular. He's one of the most gifted pitchers that I've ever coached in my entire life. And for Keegan, it's really just his mindset. It's being able to build confidence into him. And I thought we were a really good fit, and obviously he thought the same thing for his weaknesses, and to come here and really continue the missing part of his passion for baseball.
The Chargers baseball program recruits athletes out of high school and also through the transfer portal, as was the case with Caden and Keegan. Caden and Keegan bring something special to the Chargers program, given the fact that they, one, already had collegiate baseball experience, and two, they played collegiate baseball on the highest level.
I think the biggest thing is high school players, this is their first experience, and so they really have to be able to come in and learn a lot and get up to speed very quickly. And I think in junior college that's a little bit different, whereas players that transfer in, particularly from four-year schools, that's a different environment. There's typically a lot more support that's outside of the coaching staff at four-year schools, and so I think they're exposed to some things that the high school guys aren't. So I think having a mixture of those two sorts of players is a really good thing, because I think you've got to have some of the young, hungry guys that don't know anything other than JUCO when they come in here ready to compete, and you've got to have some older guys that have experienced it at a different level, and I think they're able to kind of keep things in perspective and help the younger guys along.
Well, really, I mean, in terms of the process, it's no different. We do our background checks in terms of calling coaches, and our character checks, personality, family checks. We make sure that they're a good fit for our program. In terms of the type of players, though, most of the time the transfer portal guys, they've been a year in college, maybe two even, and they're a little bit more physical than a typical high school guy. But in terms of the overall process, it's the exact same.
Now that Caden and Keegan have settled into the Chargers program, everyone has one goal in mind. That overarching goal is to, of course, win every game and tournament in the overall championship. But the underlying goal is, of course, just to get better and develop their overall baseball game.
I think for us to be the team that we want to be, we're relying on him to first provide great defense at first base, and to be a presence in our lineup, somebody that can affect the game in multiple ways, and hopefully drive in a lot of runs and be a great left-handed bat for us. So our expectations for him are very high, and so far he's proven that he's capable.
I play first base, and I really just want to be able to be the best first baseman I can possibly be.
Well, I think like most young players, he's got several things that he needs to get better at. He was a catcher in high school, so, him transitioning to first base and taking that role on as more of a primary role, I think there are nuances that he's got to shore up over at first base, but he's really athletic, and he's been excellent over there, and I think his transition's been really good. At the plate, I think he just has to embrace who he is as a hitter and not try to be something that he's not, and not try to be something that somebody else wants him to be. And I think that's the key for a lot of hitters, is you got to understand who you are, and then you've got to really become an expert on what you do well. And so that's really all we've tried to encourage him to do, and I think that's the difference for him in getting to the next level.
Right now is consistency in command. I feel that I can compete with anybody on my best stuff, but it's just making sure my best stuff's there every day.
Yeah, like I said, right now just a mindset. In terms of physical traits on the mound, there's nothing that I need to do, that Coach O'Neill needs to do, nothing that any other coach in the country needs to do. He's got it all. He's got the fastball, he's got the breaking ball, he's got a really good changeup, and what's even more special is it comes from the left side. And just him going out there on the mound, having the mindset that hey, I'm the best guy out here, I can do this, is really all he needs to work on.